Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, federal government military issues 10 warning ahead of Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi governorship elections as INEC raises fresh alarm. Retired Justice Datijo laments ugly state of the Supreme Court, says Apex Courts registrar earns 66.7% higher than the CJN. Demand merit in appointment of judges. And later on the show, Nigeria is set to vaccinate 7.7 million girls against the leading cause of cervical cancer, with the founder and CEO of Medical Cancer Foundation, Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bakudu, as our guests. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madonagu will be joining us later on the show. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. We're bringing the show on a sad note with reports that the Ohinoyi of Ebiraland, Dr. AbdulRahman Ibrahim, is dead. The paramount ruler of Ebiraland was said to have died in the early hours of Sunday at the age of 95. His remains will be buried today in Okene according to the Islamic rites. 95. For Nigeria standards, not too bad, 95.
Not bad at all.
At all.
Not bad at all. People really grow up to that.
Honestly, it's not a... He lived.
These days, life expectancy in our country hovers around 50 to 55.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. People hardly live long these days. The social problems are too many. But back to Ohinoyi, he was privileged to interview him in 1997 in his palace. You know, he was constantly rejigging that palace, constantly.
Beautiful, I've been there once.
At the end of the day, it's rated as the most beautiful palace in Nigeria.
Yeah. Very big.
Because he spent years, even before he became king, he had been preparing that place, to be his palace, And the state government has built a new palace on the site of the old palace. Also very beautiful. The equipment, the furniture brought in from abroad. Beautiful palace. With the fountain, I went there when they were building.
Really?
Yes.
As in beside the old palace that's so beautiful.
The site of the old palace.
Yes.
The old palace was not really beautiful.
Okay.
This was a palace. This one was built by Ibrahim for himself.
Okay.
So it was a reason that, okay, what if he dies? Who will move into... A new king will not inherit a palace purpose-built for himself by the Ohinoyi. So the old palace, the traditional palace, was what would they demolished and then rebuilt. You need to see how beautiful that place is now. Things that were not there before, they put them, So, and it's now looking really expansive. The governor had to do that because boys were going there to smoke. After the death of Sani Omolori, the former Ohinoyi, the place was abandoned. So people were going there to smoke. Criminals, saw the place as a place to hibernate. So they had to demolish and then build the palace. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful now. So whoever becomes the next Ohinoyi will find a beautiful palace to inherit with the fountain, everything looking so beautiful now. Talking about Adogu Ibrahim, he made his mark as a successful businessman and a big corporate player and boardroom player, because he was chairman of some of the biggest companies in Nigeria. So he was a fantastic boardroom player before he became the king. He was already rich, you know, and imagine somebody who got a BSc from the London School of Economics as far back as 1954.
Wow!
Yes, and then got a master's from Harvard Business School in 1959.
Wow!
These are people who had been rich for so long.
The foresight.
When I was living in Okene, when my dad was working there, around 1974 to 78. Yes, to 78. We used to, in fact, before he became king, they would say, that is Ibrahim's house. You know? They would point at it.
Very prominent.
Yes, they would point at the house. At that time, we would say, we didn't know him, but his name was already very popular with the boys, that if he was not made king at that time, I wonder what would have happened. Because he was famous and he was generous. These small cars, similar in size to these taxis in Ilorin, in Ibadan.
What do they call them?
Mikra.
Mikra.
It was bigger than Mikra. It was bigger than Mikra.
Okay.
You know, I've forgotten Toyota something. He was sharing it to young boys at that time as a way of empowering them, and he got their support when he wanted to be king, and he achieved his aim of becoming king, you know, and to his joy and to the joy of his family. The family produced Ohinoyi of Ebiraland, and was clearly one of the most charismatic traditional rulers of his generation. You cannot talk about the big traditional rulers in Nigeria without mentioning Ohinoyi of Ebiraland, and his tentacles, his influence spread beyond Kogi State and even Nigeria. So we wish that God will grant him Al-Jannah Fidaus.
And reach out to the whole entire Kogi State. It's a big lot.
Beginning with the governor.
States to the governor.
The chief mourner. We have to...
I think it's from that part of the state too.
Yes, from Okene, from Agaza, Okene local government. So we commiserate with the governor and the good people of Ebiraland and Kogi State for this on this occasion. And we pray that they will be able to find a worthy successor to the throne.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.